Everyone knows one fact about seahorses. The male carries the eggs. Teachers teach it. Science books print it. Documentaries show that it is probably one of the first animal facts you ever learned in school. And every single person who learned that fact learned an incomplete version of the truth, because the male seahorse does not just carry eggs. What actually happens inside that pouch is something biology spent decades trying to explain. And when scientists finally understood it, they had to rewrite everything they thought they knew about pregnancy itself. The female deposits her eggs into the male pouch. The male carries them until they hatch. The babies are born. Everyone goes home. Simple. Clean. 2 sentences. Done. And for 100 years, nobody asked what was actually happening inside that pouch during those weeks. Nobody looked closely enough. Nobody thought there was anything more to find. Because the assumption was simple. It is just a carrying container. Like a bag. Like a pocket. The eggs go in. The babies come out. Nothing complicated happening in between. That assumption was one of the biggest mistakes marine biology ever made at IN 2000, and a research team studying seahorse reproduction in detail decided to look more carefully at what the pouch was actually doing during pregnancy. Not just holding, actually doing. They ran full biological analysis on the pouch tissue, the fluid inside it, the chemical signals being produced, and the physical changes happening week by week throughout the pregnancy. What they found inside that pouch had never been seen in any male animal on Earth before. And it changed the definition of pregnancy forever. The pouch is not a bag. That is the first thing the 2002 research team established. Not a pocket. Not a container. Not a simple holding space. The male seahorse pouch is a fully functioning biological system with more complexity built into it than any scientist in that room expected to find. That it has its own blood vessel network running through its walls, delivering nutrients directly to every developing embryo inside. It has its own immune system, protecting the embryos from infection while keeping the male seahorse's own immune system from attacking them as foreign objects. It has its own fluid regulation system, maintaining the perfect chemical environment for development week by week as the embryos grow. And it controls oxygen levels independently, adjusting the amount of oxygen available to the embryos as their needs change throughout development. But none of that is the part that made the research team stop completely. The pouch produces prolactin, a hormone. A very specific hormone that science had previously only ever recorded in one context in the entire animal kingdom. Prolactin is the hormone that human mothers produce during pregnancy to support fetal development and prepare the body for birth. The exact same hormone, produced in the exact same biological context, in a male fish. And then the research team found something that made even that discovery look small. A placenta. Not a placenta-like structure. Not something similar to a placenta. An actual functioning placenta growing inside the male seahorse pouch, connecting to each embryo individually and delivering nutrients, regulating waste, and controlling development exactly the way a human placenta does during human pregnancy. The male seahorse was not carrying eggs. He was pregnant. Biologically. Completely. In every measurable scientific sense of the word. The first and only confirmed case of true male pregnancy ever recorded in the entire animal kingdom. And it had been happening in oceans around the world for 100 million years, while science looked at it and called it egg carrying. Everything you just learned about the biology makes the seahorse remarkable. What you are about to learn about their behavior makes them something else entirely. Seahorses mate for life. Not as a figure of speech. Not as a general tendency. As a biological commitment that shapes every single day of their existence from the moment they choose a partner. Every morning, without exception, the male and female seahorse perform a greeting dance together. They find each other in the coral. They change colors simultaneously, not separately, together. The same colors at the same moment, as if their bodies are connected to the same signal. They swim side by side in perfect synchronization for up to 8 hours. Scientists who first observed this behavior spent weeks trying to understand what purpose it served beyond simple recognition. What they eventually concluded was something that made several researchers deeply uncomfortable to put into a scientific paper, that it served no survival purpose whatsoever. The daily greeting dance exists for one reason only: connection. The same reason humans shake hands. The same reason families eat dinner together. The seahorse greets its partner every morning not because biology forces it to, but because something in its behavioral wiring makes the absence of that greeting measurably stressful. Scientists have recorded male seahorses searching their entire territory when the female does not appear for the morning greeting. Heart rate increases. Color patterns become erratic. Feeding stops. The measurable biological signs of stress in a seahorse separated from its partner are identical to the stress signals recorded in animals that form deep long-term social bonds. And when the female finally returns, the colors synchronize again. The swimming slows. The stress signals disappear. They do not just reproduce together. They choose each other. Every single morning, when the babies are ready, the male goes into labor. Not a process that looks like labor. Not something scientists describe as similar to labor. Actual labor. His entire body begins contracting rhythmically. The contractions start slow. Then they build. Then they become violent enough that his entire body bends forward and backward with each one. Scientists who witnessed a seahorse birth for the first time described the experience as deeply unsettling to watch. Not because it was dangerous, because it was so recognizable. Every contraction pattern, every pause between contractions, every physical sign of effort and exhaustion between pushes. All of it identical to what happens in any mammal giving birth. And then the babies come, not a few, not dozens. Up to 1,500 fully formed and completely independent babies expelled from a single pregnancy. 1,500, each one the size of a grain of rice. Each one immediately swimming independently the moment it leaves the pouch. No parental guidance, no protection, no feeding. The moment they leave the pouch, they are completely alone in the ocean and completely capable of surviving in it. The mother is not present for any of this. She left after depositing the eggs. She has been producing the next batch of eggs during the entire pregnancy. And within hours of the male completing birth, sometimes within the same day, she returns. The courtship dance begins again. And the male who just spent weeks pregnant and hours in labor accepts the next batch of eggs directly into the same pouch he just emptied. He can be continuously pregnant for the entire breeding season, month after month, pregnancy after pregnancy, labor after labor. Scientists studying this reproductive cycle described it as the single most physically demanding continuous reproductive process ever observed in any vertebrate animal on Earth. Not the most demanding in fish. In any vertebrate, including mammals, including humans. Everything you have just seen raises one question that scientists spent decades trying to answer. Why the male? Not why does the male help? Not why does the male contribute? Why did 100 million years of evolution decide to put the most physically demanding reproductive process in the entire animal kingdom inside the body of the male and not the female? The answer took until 2015 to fully understand. And it is not what anyone expected that it comes down to mathematics, that a female seahorse can produce a new batch of eggs every 2 weeks. That is her biological cycle. 2 weeks to produce. 2 weeks to produce again. She can do this continuously throughout the entire breeding season without interruption. But pregnancy takes 3 to 4 weeks. That if the female carried the pregnancy herself, she would lose 2 full weeks of egg production every single cycle. She would finish the pregnancy, then wait 2 weeks to produce the next batch, then carry it for 3 to 4 weeks again. The reproductive output of the species would be cut nearly in half. By transferring pregnancy to the male, something extraordinary happens. The female never stops producing. The male never stops carrying. Both biological processes run simultaneously and continuously without either one waiting for the other. The species reproduces at nearly double the speed of any system, where one parent handles everything alone. Evolution did not give the male pregnancy because it was unusual. It gave it to him because it was the single most mathematically efficient reproductive solution available. And once that solution appeared 100 million years ago, nothing ever improved on it, because nothing needed to. The seahorse rewrote the definition of pregnancy. Not partially. Not in a small way. Completely. It took everything science thought only a female body could do and showed it happening in a male body that is smaller than your thumb. It took everything people assumed about which parent carries the biological burden of reproduction and reversed it entirely. And it did all of this in a creature swimming in oceans that humans have sailed across for thousands of years without anyone properly understanding what was happening inside that tiny pouch. The seahorse did not ask for permission to break those rules. It just broke them. 100 million years ago. Quietly. In water so shallow that children paddle in it at the beach. And if one animal this small living this close to us rewrote biology this completely, imagine what is still out there in the parts of the ocean we have never seen. Still breaking rules. Still doing things that would force science to stop and rewrite everything again. Still completely misunderstood by every researcher who has not looked closely enough yet that we were wrong about the seahorse. And the seahorse never noticed.